Greetings, Star Wars community. Today we're going to be talking about episode 7 of The Mandalorian to tell you what we like and what we didn't like about this episode as we head into the final episode of the season. So sit down and hit that hyperdrive because Star Wars Road Review starts now. Welcome back to another episode review of The Mandalorian. I'm your host Mario, and as usual, this is your spoiler warning. We will be talking about some of the things that happen in the episode. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out before you check out this review. I'm so sorry for the delay in putting out this review for you guys. I know that Disney dropped this episode last week on Wednesday, but it was the day before The Rise of Skywalker, and we spent all weekend watching the movie multiple times so that we can put out a review for you guys as well. So be on the lookout for our review episode of The Rise of Skywalker. Normally we talk about the things that we like about the episode first because usually there's been a lot of things to dislike about it, but with this episode that just passed, there is so few things to dislike about this episode that we're going to go ahead and talk about that first. So the first thing that I didn't like about this episode, and it's probably the thing that I dislike the most about the episode, it's something that I've been complaining about since the beginning of the series. And that is the length of these episodes. The length of this episode to me was too short only because of the fact that there was so much to enjoy in this episode. There were so many characters that they brought back. There were so many different things that were going on at once that I really wish that this would have been like an hour long at the very least. This episode just needed a little bit more time because I wanted more of this episode. They brought back Mr. I Have Spoken, Kuiil, I really don't know how to say his name. They also brought back the IG-11 robot. They brought back Cara Dune, and I thought that she did a great job in this episode. The dialogue between her and Kuiil was just awesome because we finally got to hear the background story of Kuiil and how he used to be ex-Imperial and how she used to be an ex-rebel. Therefore, she doesn't like anything that had to do with the Empire. That's why when the Mandalorian mentions the fact that the person that they're going to go after is an ex-Imperial, she says she's in. And that leads into the second thing that I didn't like about this episode. Because of the fact that they didn't include Cara Dune until this episode right now, and that Kuiil didn't come out until this episode again, I feel like we don't know enough about these characters that it's bound to happen that we're going to get their side stories in a comic book or a book, which I really don't mind because I enjoy that. But for people that aren't that into the expanded Star Wars universe, like the comic books, the books, and the video games, it's not cool that they don't give you that information in the series itself. Disney's always trying to figure out a way to make more money off of Star Wars fans, and honestly, I'm one of those guys that would just throw my money at Disney for whatever Star Wars things that they come out with. But for those people that are just trying to get to know Star Wars and starting to watch Star Wars for the first time, this is maybe their first entry into Star Wars, it's not cool that they have to hunt that information down in other formats that they might not be interested in, like the video games or the comic books. And honestly, that is all that I disliked about this episode. Other than feeling that the episode was too short and that we didn't get enough information about the characters, we got so much more information that was very enjoyable. The very first thing that I love is the fact that they brought back those characters that we've been begging them to bring back because we wanted to see them again on screen. Cara Dune, Kuiil, IG-11. I honestly didn't think that we were going to see IG-11 again because he was destroyed, but I love the fact that Kuiil repaired him and he's able to use him again. I feel like IG-11 was underused in this episode, but I think that's going to play into episode 8 just for whatever reason. I think that he's going to be a defender or he's going to end up being a help to the Mandalorian. And we know that the Mandalorian doesn't like droids, so I don't know how that's going to play out, but I have a feeling that IG-11 is going to become part of the crew, or it's going to become a very important character that might even sacrifice himself to be able to save Baby Yoda or to be able to save the Mandalorian, whatever it is that the situation is in episode 8. And part of the reason why I like the fact that these characters return was because of who was directing the episode, and that was Deborah Chow. My previous favorite episode of this series was episode 3 of The Mandalorian, which was also directed by Deborah Chow, and I do believe that that is the fan favorite of the best directed episode of The Mandalorian. And the reason for that is because Deborah Chow did an amazing job. The way that she utilizes the characters, the way that the dialogue was spread out, the way that the actions were taken, just the cinematography of how she uses the characters and the environment that is around them, it is just amazing. I am so excited to see her again in the Star Wars universe when she will be taking over the Obi-Wan series, because it is slated to be directed completely by Deborah Chow, who has directed my favorite 2 episodes of The Mandalorian so far. The other thing that I really liked about this episode was just the suspense and the action that happened in this episode. From the second that we knew that the Mandalorian was going to make a deal with the guild so that he can get the bounty hunters off of his back, we kind of knew that it was going to be a trap, so I love the fact that he went immediately over to Cara Dune to try to recruit her, and then to get Kuiil so they can try to get him as well to help him out with the process. The night raid scene when those dragons start coming down and start attacking them was really awesome because it reminded me of episode 4 when they're also fighting at night. night. They did a great job of making sure that the choreography was great. All the characters reacted really awesome. I know that they were dealing with green screens at that point, but just the acting has been really good in this episode. And in this episode, we also got to see Baby Yoda use the Force to heal people. Just like we saw him try to do in the second episode, this time we got to see him actually do it to 2 people in this episode. Which leads me to another thing that I really like about this episode, and that is that the people in this universe aren't that familiar with the Force or Force users. We got to hear Kuil say that he's heard stories about people like Baby Yoda or people that are Force users in general, but he thought they were all rumors because he had never seen anything like it. Now we know this is the case because the show is taking place after Return of the Jedi. Now at this time, the only person that's out there that's a Jedi is Luke Skywalker. So not many people have seen a Jedi or what the Jedi can do or how they use the Force. And probably the only ones that do know about the powers of the Force users would be the Empire, who had to deal with the Jedi and know what the Jedi were able to do. Which leads me to believe that that's the reason why the Empire really wants Baby Yoda, because they are aware that he is a Force user or that he's Force sensitive, and they want to be able to use that to their advantage to probably gain power again. And the last thing that we're going to talk about that we really loved in this episode, as always, is going to be the star of the show, Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda stole the show in that one scene when the Mandalorian and Cara Dune are arguing and he peeks down to make sure to see if they're paying attention. Then he goes up into the cockpit and goes crazy flying the spaceship. It's just more the Baby Yoda that we love to see, that playful Baby Yoda that's still a child, but at the same time doesn't understand his powers. Deborah Chow did a great job of respecting Baby Yoda's powers and the way that she treated the character in the previous episode she directed, and she did an amazing job as well in this one. This was just another episode that lends itself to several more memeable moments for Baby Yoda that we all love to see. The story is just really well told in this episode, and from beginning to end, it just left me in suspense about what's going to happen for the next episode. I can't wait for episode 8 so I can find out the conclusion of what happened. I want to know if Kuil is actually going to survive, because we know that IG-11 was on the ship. Maybe he's going to come out and he's going to rescue him. We don't know what's going to happen to the Mandalorian and Cara Dune, who are stuck in the cantina. And then the fact that they brought the Death Troopers, I thought was freaking awesome. I just can't wait to see what kind of things are going to be in store for the last episode. I just hope that it's a long episode so that it can tie us down until season 2 of The Mandalorian. And that's all that I really have to say about episode 7 of The Mandalorian. What did you guys think of it? Make sure that you let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys are following us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You guys can also follow me personally at the handles down below as well. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever we put out a new episode. Share this video with your friends so you can support our channel so we can keep putting out more awesome content for you guys. Thank you for watching our episode 7 review of The Mandalorian, and as always, we can't wait to have you back here at Star Wars Roll Reviews.